In this video, I'm going to do the same thing I did in the last video, but I'm going to do it with this apply limit parameter. It's going to be a little bit hairier because we have to transform apply limit itself. First thing I'm going to do is extract a constant. We will call this next duration. And we'll move it next to the code that we want to extract into a function. The other thing I'm going to do is create a duration for that default value. So I'll start by saying const duration, const default duration equals new duration. New duration, and we'll pass in default value. Now I have a duration where seconds is always equal to default value, so I can use the duration itself. And then the last thing I need to do is I need to replace this coupling here, this next. We have a next duration object, and its seconds value is next, so I'll just make sure that's what I use. And now I'm set up to extract an inner function into the duration input component, and we'll call it apply limit to duration. Not that hard. It gets a little more sticky going forward, and then it keeps getting stickier and stickier. So let's see. What's the next thing I can do? Well, I can take this return value, and I can make it a constant. We'll call it preview duration. That kind of mirrors what I did with the other one. And I need to do the same thing with the null. So I'll take the default value, I'll extract it into a constant. We'll call it default value. And then I can null coalesce that back into null. That doesn't do anything. And then I can create a new object. Const default duration. So I'll say new or no, hard code it to null, and give it the type duration. And that I can then use and get the seconds in place of it. Now I don't need this default value anymore. Remove this one. And I think I'm all set to extract this. So we'll extract into duration input, and again we will call it apply limit to duration 2. Now I have these two methods, and they're similar but not the same. So I can't collapse them until they're the same. I'll start by just making the bodies the same. I'll start by just naming things correctly. So let's call this limited seconds. And we'll call this preview duration, we'll call this limited, I guess. And we'll do the same thing here. Limited seconds. And we'll just call this limited. So now they're similar. We at least have, one line that's the same. But we have some other changes. Well, null coalescing isn't going to do anything when the value is already not null. It's not going to change the behavior or the structure. And then conditionalizing this, making this so that it works even if default duration was null, isn't going to matter because it's never null. So now this gives me two lines that are the same. And the last thing that I need to do is I need to normalize these two lines here. So what can I do about this? Well, I can copy this and I can paste it and just null coalesce to the other value. I know that's not going to be a problem. The problem is that I can't do the same thing going this way. But I can make some other changes. I can be kind of creative here. I can think about this. I can say, well, if default duration is null, then this expression is null. And then if the default actually gets used, limited seconds is going to be null. And so new or null is going to be null, which is what default duration was all along. So I could just coalesce into default duration. If the default duration isn't null, then the seconds isn't going to be null, and then a new default duration is going to be created that has the same values. So I can just add this coalescence there. And I can do the same thing here. And once I've done that, I don't need this piece anymore. So now I've normalized these two lines. I've normalized this line. I think I've normalized them all. So let's take a look at them and see if the bodies are normal. So they're the same. The bodies are the same, and the signatures are the problem now. So what do I do to normalize these? Well, I can't just make them equal because that'll change the return type. I can't specify the return type and make them equal because then that'll cause a compiler error. I have to do something more creative. Now, here's the thing. If there's an actual value that gets used, it does not matter what the default value that's passed into apply limit is. It's just going to not get used. If there isn't a value, then the default value gets passed in here, but then it gets reused here. So we can actually just make this be null. See, this is where, the kind of transformative mathematical approach to refactoring really makes things matter. Now that we're just using the default duration, we can apply the trick that I showed way early in the series and just genericize these methods, these functions. So I'll extract a type alias, I'll call it T. Then I'll make it a generic value and get rid of this declaration. And then I'll extract a type alias, I'll call it T. I'll make it a generic, get rid of it. And now I believe if I copy this, paste it, I'll find that it's completely duplicated, completely redundant. This is important because it means that I can collapse these two functions. And that's important because it serves as the kind of platform or conveyance for moving this out as a parameter. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to extract the signature as a type. So first I'll make a function, and then I'll make it return, apply limit to duration, and then I will infer the return type. And now I can copy this as a type. That is valuable because it then allows me to go through the process of creating the parameters I need. Right. So if I go back to the input properties, I can create a new property. I call it apply limit to duration. And of course, to prevent compiler errors, we'll start by making it optional. And then I'll go back to where this is defined. I'll simply copy it, and I will go to each place where we currently define apply limit, and I will also define apply limit to duration. Now, here again, we see there's one compiler error. When the tooling is weak, you're not going to be able to get away without ever having it not compile. And if you think about it, even like with C# or Java, with superlative tooling, there's a lot of operations where you're like typing out a name or something. There's a period of time where it's not compilable. So that's just part of the nature of the beast. It's about keeping it small and meaningful. Anyway, we know apply limit happens to be apply limit to min here. So I'll just paste that. And then I'll go down to the other place where we use apply limit, and I will define apply limit to duration and paste the original value in, paste the original function in. And again, it says apply limit to max, right? Is what apply limit is. So we don't need these names at all. Now, I can start transferring the coupling. So this doesn't need to be optional anymore because it's always defined. So this, create a separate scope, and then in this outer scope, we say apply limit to duration, and then we no longer need this function because we know it's always defined correctly. And that transfers coupling to the parameter, which then allows me to get rid of the extra scope. And then I don't need this destructuring. And I can start to get rid of these points of coupling. I always forget this part. Make it optional. And then go to where it's used. Then I can delete it because it's not actually consumed anywhere. Okay. And then I can get rid of this. All right. So now I've transferred the coupling, I've moved it out. Last thing to do, I think, is a little bit of cleanup. This is not a good place for these. So I will copy this. I will paste it down here. It says, oh, you didn't give it a name. So that's true. So I'll call it min duration. Apply limit to min duration. So just basically cloned that function and given it a name, which means I can replace this kind of inline one with apply limit to min duration. And so then I'll just do the same thing. Max, copy, we'll paste it below, and we'll give it the name, apply limit to max duration, clean up this spacing, go back to apply limit to max, here, and we'll just, now it looks like we designed this all this way all along, right? We're just passing in the function name. Final bit of cleanup is going to be to get rid of these kind of legacy functions which are coupled to the number. So it's only used in one place, and that's good. So then I'm going to take this and extract. I'm going to do a manual inline. That's what we have to do. We'll call this limited seconds. And let's see, I need parse duration seconds, so that I need this to be parsed. Extract, parsed. Already have, I will extract this as default value. Extract constant, default value. All right, now I have what I need to just take this line, which is the entire body of the method really, and paste it here. And I can get rid of this. And now I'm realizing that's not the final bit of cleanup. The final bit of cleanup is to then clean up these methods once I've done that. So repeat the process here, call it extract limited seconds, and then we'll take this and we'll extract the constant, we'll call it default value, and we'll extract this constant and we'll call it parsed. Parsed. Okay, now I should be able to just copy this and paste it. Get rid of this. Now I can start inlining things. Let's see, so parsed is null. Well, okay. What do I do? Well, let's get rid of this one. Then we don't need this. Inline. Easy. Easy. So then limited seconds is one of these things. That's fine. We'll leave that be. It's this parsed that's annoying. So if parsed duration is null, this value is gonna be null. So what I can do is I can use the trick that I used a few videos ago to transfer this this coupling to parsed duration.seconds. So we'll say or parsed duration equals null. And really we could go and we could copy this and paste it and then say, well, this is equal, but it's good enough. All right, so if parse is null or parse duration is null, we return null. now that we know that parse duration is not null on this side of the ternary, we can paste parse duration.seconds over here. And once we've done that, we'll see that we don't have any coupling to parsed anymore. So we can just get rid of this side of the branch and get rid of this. I feel like this is pretty clean. This is a pretty clean definition. So let's repeat that process one more time and you can watch. So let's do it the formal way. So say or, and then I'll just paste the left side of the or onto the right side of the or, and then, true or true is true, false or false is false. So this is still going to be valid, but then I can say, okay, well, what is it that drives the nullness? It's this parse duration, paste it. Then I can take this and I can copy it, paste it here and get rid of the conditional. And then I get rid of the left side of the condition because it's unnecessary. And I can delete this. And now I have nice, clean methods, apply limit to min duration, apply limit to max duration. In fact, I can even name them. I can say min and max again, just like I had. And it looks like that is the way I had designed it all along. But I didn't. I didn't design it at all, right? Some AI designed it. Really, probably some Redditor 10 years ago designed it, and then some AI echoed whatever he said. But one step at a time, we make this cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.